Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I just want to take a video to kind of sharing my thoughts about, where I think would be kind of an interesting route for us to take, Harley Quinn as well as the Birds of Prey after the events of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Do know I will be going a bit into spoilers, so if you've not seen all of Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn, do not watch this video because I'll spoil things. But nevertheless, this is me kind of reiterating some thoughts I had during that I kind of thrown out there during my review of the movie. So first and foremost, it makes me wonder where Harley's going to go next. Well, I mean, obviously, like within the confines of the DCEU movies, quote unquote DCEU movies, the fact of the matter is we know the next time we see Harley is going to be in the Suicide Squad movie, the sequel slash reboot of Suicide Squad, the one that James Gunn is doing. How much of a role she's going to have in it, who knows? I think there's been stuff where like James Gunn has kind of teased his approach to the character and stuff like that, but obviously this seems like it's a continuously building arc from her, from the Suicide Squad to hers and Birds of Prey. Obviously there's some story in between, we don't get the 100% ins and outs, because it's basically, because the DCEU's kind of got to that point where it's like everyone's kind of just doing their own thing, not worrying too much about connected continuity, at least that's what it appears to be. But it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with Harley, because the last time we saw Harley in the Birds of Prey, she was kicking it with Cassandra Cain, which I'm like, that's crazy considering, once again, knowing what Cassandra's future is, what that has in store for her. So it's going to be interesting to know that Harley, and also her being kind of a mentor. It's interesting because I think, granted, obviously this is a different dynamic, but it's almost like her being a Joker to somebody, because it's like, oh, here's someone I'm taking under my wing. Granted, her and Joker had a very complicated, like, it was a loving romantic relationship. Her and Cassandra, it's like, oh, I'm looking after this kid, I'm showing this kid the ropes, she's kind of, she's a thief and everything, so she's not 100% a good guy, which once again is interesting considering what potentially her future holds for her, being part of the Bat family and everything like that. And Harley, and I think it's so interesting too, because Harley isn't really, like, where she is in the DC movies, like, she hasn't really been a full-blown villain. Like, we got stuff here and there of her being a villain, but I mean, like, Suicide Squad, she's kind of forced to be an anti-hero. She does villainous crap in Birds of Prey, but even then at the end she becomes an anti-hero, but that's more so about self-preservation. It's like, I gotta work with you heroes so I can survive this thing. If not, if I'm on my own, Black Mask is gonna kill me, along with everyone else that's got a target on my back. Which I'm wondering, now that that's done, like, even though Black Mask was taken care of, I'm sure she's still pissed off a lot of people. That I think that could be a continuous storyline of like, yeah, there's still people gunning for her because she broke up with their Joker. Like, wait, we're still coming after you, like, just because Black Mask is dead. Granted, he put the bounty on her head, but there's still probably plenty of people she pissed off. But to be fair, that might be isolated to Gotham City. That could be a joke that they make. It's like her popping up in, like, I don't know, randomly Metropolis or something like that. And it's like, hey, Harley, I still haven't forgotten blah, 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 blah. Like, it could be a continuous story for her. It's like, Jesus, I thought this was done the moment I finished Birds of Prey. Like, no one would come after me. That's, some thoughts in my head, Because I also think, because also another thought process I've had was the whole, Gotham Siren situation, because once again, like when DC did their lineup of movies, that was like one of the potential movies down the road was going to be a Gotham Sirens movie, which obviously like is a trio of Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman. That'd be an interesting lane, considering the fact that Zoe Kravitz is playing Catwoman, but she's playing Catwoman in the Batman, and that's its own continuity, especially considering that might be set in the 90s, so there probably won't be any correlation. If they ever did do that, it'd probably be like a different person cast as Catwoman. Maybe, like I said, you'd have to do your own thing potentially with that. I don't know. I'd be curious to kind of see how they would handle that. But I believe it was like the director a little while back, Kathy Zahn, who had said like, oh, like she would want to do another movie like going forward with Harley about her relationship with Poison Ivy. So I think it'd probably be something like the Harley Quinn cartoons, something similar in that vein, but probably like a very different dynamic. I'm also curious to see like their approach to Poison Ivy, because like obviously like the adaptations of her, like the last time we saw her movie-wise was Uma Thurman, and then obviously like the different actresses that portrayed her in Gotham, because Gotham's Poison Ivy, which I liked the direction they took because it was a very different direction from who like you typically associate Poison Ivy to be. So it's like, I'm curious to see what she would be like in a movie and like what her and Harley's interactions would be like. I think that'd be kind of a neat kind of like story, like, especially if you add in the Cassandra Cain element, which once again, it's like, is that an element that they make fun of like, hey, Harley, wasn't there a kid with you last time? Shut up. Let's not talk about that. Or maybe like other kids doing their own thing. Like, cause that's the thing, like, I don't see Harley abandoning her, because she kind of already kind of abandoned her, and it's like, oh, I feel like a piece of crap because I betrayed her. She trusted me and everything. We're actually becoming friends and stuff like that. Because like currently, that's like her only like real friend outside of everything. Because everyone else is just, these are criminals I associate with. This is kind of like my only real true friend after everything, you know? So I'm curious to see what they end up doing with that. Like if they did do a Gotham Sirens type of situation, I think it would be interesting. It'd be kind of interesting to be like Harley's return to Gotham, which that could also flow into like the Birds of Prey. I mean, the big question becomes like, you know, obviously what awaits them. Like if you did another like sequel, like if you did a sequel, like would it just follow, would they follow Harley? Would they follow the Birds of Prey? Would they eventually bring them back together? I don't know. I just think that'd be such an interesting situation, you know, because they're off doing their hero thing, and Harley, like I said, she was a temporary like ally, but she's still kind of a bad guy. And would they let a lot of her criminal stuff slide? Like I said, depending on what direction, are they going to lean more into the anti-hero of like, she does some hero stuff from time to time, but she like steals and hurts and kills people from time to time. But it's like, come on, I did some hero stuff, let that slide. Like I'm curious to see like what they'll ultimately end up doing with like that relationship, because it adds a very interesting dynamic. Obviously I am not that well versed in the Birds of Prey. Like the only character I'm like probably like slightly well versed with is Black Canary, and I've talked about this before just because of Arrow, and even obviously the different people have taken up the mantle of Black Canary and Arrow are very different adaptations than the one we got in Birds of Prey, and even that's different from like, you know, the comic book versions, because I'm sure there's a multitude of them, but you get what I'm trying to say. I think with the Birds of Prey sequel, you could definitely dive more into everyone's past, in particular, like, cause I feel like we only got like a little bit of time with Huntress, so elaborate more on her, kind of like her growth as kind of being like this weird, awkward character, kind of learning how to be a person again could be part of her story. Maybe Montoya clashing with the GCPD because of like obviously like her exit from them, and now her kind of doing a whole vigilante thing. Like you could play with that a little bit. Even like Black Canary, because like someone had suggested, like because we dive in it a little bit about her mom was a superhero, and that's why like she was so anti-superhero, anti-using her powers and everything, because it was like, oh yeah, like I saw what it did to my mom, like, and what happened to my mom. So for her, because it's been a while, I want to say, didn't her mom die from the whole superhero thing? Like, I think that got her killed, if I remember correctly. Or it left her kind of beaten and broken type of... Like I said, it's been a while, so I can't remember. But that could definitely be something we kind of play into a little bit, kind of learn more about her past before she got associated with Black Mask. You know? Obviously, these are just some thoughts kind of running through my head. I love that you get to know some of your thoughts in the comments down below, where you would like to see, you know, Harley and the Birds of Prey, you know, potentially go in the future. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.